Plaintiff Nicola Doherty says she started gangbanging at age 10, and she first got pregnant when she was 12. During this time, Nicola and the defendant were being raised together, but Nicola didn't turn her life around until after she had 3 kids and went to prison. Nicola's suing because she claims the defendant used her name when she was arrested for prostitution. Defendant Tracy West met Nicola in junior high when they were both in a gang. Tracy claims she became addicted to crack at age 17 and was in and out of prison, but she's been sober for 5 years. Tracy admits that she hurt Nicola while she was using drugs, but she insists she's been trying to make amends.
Start with you.
Well, Tracy is more than just a friend. She's my sister. We've been raised together in the same home since we were teenagers, and we were very young and getting into a lot of trouble. At the age of 10, I started gangbanging. At 12 years old, I started getting pregnant. And then by the time I was 16, I started selling drugs. And by the time I was 17, I had 3 children at the time. And then I was still doing time in juvenile hall. And from that, I graduated, went to prison. Women's prison, did like 18 months. And while I was there, my brother was killed. And from that, I wanted to retaliate, do a lot of things. But then a lady witnessed to me and I ended up changing my life, going to church and got saved. And
where did you encounter her?
At a play called No Place to Lay My Head after a retaliation event that
What brought you there to the play?
Well, we was hiding out from the police and didn't know that God was meeting us there.
Yeah. And how did you deal with that going back to the same environment outside of church? Still had to go home to the same environment. How did you stay strong?
Well, what happened with me was a lady that witnessed to me there. She was at the church and she was over the outreach department and actually a rehab, and they had opened up a home for people that was in recovery, but I wasn't on drugs, but I was addicted to gangbanging, addicted to that life. So she just used wisdom at the time. I later found out that she said, well, come help me do the home. And so I took my 2 sons with me. I had 3 at the time, but my mother raised her from birth. And so I took my 2 sons with me, and while I was there, they trained me, and I started on a road of deliverance and healing.
Good. And did you ever have to return back to the same environment?
Well, I went back maybe a couple of times throughout the year because of
lived there though.
Oh, well, maybe like 5 years later.
How long did you stay then?
Maybe like a year or 2 years, but I had to move.
And I asked that because I'm convinced that in addition to wanting to change, the primary means is getting out of the environment. Because going to prison, coming right back to the same environment, to the same people, doing the same, having the same idle time, there's not many options. Drugs, you return back to a drug-infested community, the same people, the same thing going on. Yeah, you come out 30-day, 45-day, 60-day treatment, and every single place you go, every hour of the day, you see the crack going down, and the urge is going to overwhelm you. And whether it's that or gangbanging or destructive lifestyle or criminal activity.
Tracy is more than just a friend. She's my sister. We've been raised together in the same home since we were teenagers, and we were very young and getting into a lot of trouble.
Plaintiff Nicola Doherty says she and the defendant were raised together, but she's suing because the defendant used her name when she was arrested.
You can go to jail, you can go to rehab, but unless you're able to escape the environment, it's a very minimal chance that you're going to escape it. And that's my personal observation from others, from hundreds of others that I've seen trying to change, and from my own personal experience. It was more than just me changing my mind, and folks say, it was because your mother passed. That's what changed my mind. My mother, I told her I'm going to change, Mama. I ain't getting back in trouble. So I wanted to change. But where was I going to go? Thank God I went to college. It got me out of the environment. That's what happened. That's what happened. And so it was you escaping that environment for a more positive environment. Now, the question I have, and this is what I want society to contemplate, how do you escape the mentality without being overwhelmed by the environment? I think that's something society has to come up with some solutions. With young people, I believe the best alternative is making sure they go to school and then having after-school programs starting when they're preschoolers or certainly elementary school, so that their whole life has been go to school, after-school program where I'm able to eat dinner, where I'm able to get involved in some recreation, but I also have to get tutoring to finish my homework. So by 8 or 9 p.m. you get home, you're too tired to do anything else. Sleep. So that's living in the environment and being able to escape. In my opinion, that's one of the alternatives. But other than that, you come home from school and everything around you, everybody's engaged in gang banging, criminal activity, gun violence. What are you going to do? You're going to be a victim? That's something society has to contemplate. I'm preaching now, but no, I'm really provoking thought and educating. And so, but thank God you were able to escape physically. I was able to escape physically. Give me some background on yourself.
Okay, we were both in the gang. We met in junior high school. We became friends. I ended up not having nowhere to live. She took me home to her mother. Her mother opened the door with open arms and became my mother. At the age of 17, I started dibbling, dabbling, messing around with crack. So I was in and out of jail, in and out of prison. And now I can say I've been sober for 5 years.
How did that happen? Oh, it's been 5 years? What happened to you 5 years ago? Where were you living and how did you become sober? Tell me, and how do you maintain your sobriety? Did you come back to the same neighborhood? Were you living in the same neighborhood 5 years ago?
No,
right.
No, I went to a whole different neighborhood.
Right.
That's how I got my life together. And right now, the only way I'm able to maintain is by prayer and going to meetings twice a week.
There you go.
Without a meeting.
Yep, there you go. There you go. All right, so you all are great examples of the formulas that we need for folks to overcome drug addiction and a destructive criminal lifestyle. All right, and why are you suing her today? Tell me about the loan.
Well, I'm suing her because several years ago, I had wrote a letter to Sacramento for a clearance because I had felonies and I wanted to be a nurse, a CNA. I got approved. And I was working for like 3 years, and my sister had failed, backslid, and ended up getting arrested and used my name for prostitution, car theft, and robbery. And so while I was on my job in the 3rd year, doing real good, just being successful, I thought. And they called me into the office and said that you have this criminal history. I pleaded with them not to fire me. This is my sister. This is not me. And so I lost my job. And from that, I had to go back to doing hair. In the midst of that, I was doing real good in my life. A family member called abuse hotline on me, which was totally a lie, took my kids, and they brought up the fact, they said I was in prostitution, car theft, and robbery, and I could not beat that. So I ended up losing my kids, even though it's still a journey.
Go ahead.
Yes. And so from that, and then I must say one thing my sister did do, she said I would give them my ID number, my state number. Yes, I did. She always admitted it. However, it didn't stop the repercussions of that situation. Yeah. And I forgive her because I know her heart is good, but it didn't stop, what could have been. I could have been a nurse. That's
another obstacle you have to deal with. There's going to be a lot of obstacles. Here's a woman, she didn't give up. A lot of guys, they won't let me. Yeah, they're not. You got to fight. You're the one who made the mistake. And so folks do use mistakes against you to hold you back. That's a fact of life.
Plaintiff Nicola Doherty says she and the defendant were raised together, but she's suing because the defendant used her name when she was arrested.
The loan, how does she owe you for that?
In the beginning, my sister was doing good. Everything was working out. And she asked me to borrow a couple of thousands, like $2,000, to get her a place and things like that. And so I loaned her the money. And to be honest, I didn't give her a date. I just told her, girl, it better not be no 10 years.
How long ago was that?
And it was in 2013.
All right.
And
has she paid you anything since?
No.
All right, and what's your emotional distress for?
My emotional distress is for me losing my job, and after that I ended up homeless, and then fighting for my babies to prove that that was not me, and that was beyond emotional
What do you say to
distress.
this, ma'am?
Okay, well, when I was on crack, I did use her name. At the time, I was high and I was loaded when the police arrested me. I had no idea the extent of damage it would do to my sister in the long run. I've apologized as much as I can. I've asked her for forgiveness as much as I can. I've tried to do anything and everything I could to rectify.
How? What?
Whatever. I went down to the police station trying to get paperwork saying that it was me, not her.
Okay.
I wasn't able to do that.
How about financially?
Financially, I haven't been actually financially able, but I have watched her children. I have cleaned her house. And not even just that. I'm not even gonna look over there. And not even just
Why
that.
not?
Because I don't want to look at her right now.
Why?
Because I don't want
All
to.
you've done to her, you talking about you don't want to look
Yeah,
over
because
there.
I feel, because I'm still
You
sad.
need to be looking over there like that.
I know my sister forgive me. I know she forgive me because she got a forgiving heart.
But then now you have to repent and you have to
And I
repair the damage. One of the main things they teach you in NA is that you have
Making
to go
amends.
back and try to what?
Make amends.
Make amends and repair the damage. That's one thing that troubles me about recovering addicts. The first thing you hear, well, all that happened, I did all that damage to my mother, to my brother, to my sister when I was on crack. So that's the excuse. So don't talk to me about that no more. But the folks are still affected. She's still affected by it. I'm still affected by what my close relatives did to me while they were addicted. But when they get off their addiction, I was on drugs then. So why are you blaming me? Why are you saying? Because I still owe this and I still owe that, and the bill collector is still doing this and the bill collector is doing that. That's why. So.
And I haven't actually, been financially.
You've been able to pay her
able.
something in all these years. Don't come in here talking about no babysitting. Give her $50 a month or anything else. Yes, ma'am, before we leave.
And I gotta say this, she did watch my kids, and if she would have kept watching my kids, she would have never got in trouble. And I was young and I was doing a lot of stuff. This is the truth though. But I will say this, she keep a man with money. So she could pay and give me something.
That's what I'm saying.
She could.
That's what I'm saying. That's why. You know I'm not buying that.
She can
You
take
know
that.
I'm not buying that. You know just what I said. And
People
until
ain't
you
with
stop that, you're halfway recovered. Your recovery is that you're not smoking crack, but you got crackish ways. Have a good day. Just for the praise.
Don't say that.
Oh my God.
You forgive me, sister.
I love my sister. I love you, sister. I love you, sister. I love you.
I'm gonna pay your money. I'm gonna pay you.
You gotta pay my money.
Okay.